What's up guys, iBestus here, and I want to give you a breakdown of my favorite deck, End of Days. Now, I already did one before, but there was an issue with the recording and the quality was real terrible, and I just wanted to do a better overall job. Now, I've recorded this video probably 3 or 4 times, and the audio keeps fucking up, so I really hope this time around it gets better. But moving into the deck, let's take a look, shall we? First of all, I think this box goes really well with this deck and the theme of it. I mean, look at it. It's nice, right? Let's take a look. Now, jumping into here, I'm going to show you the lands real quick first. I run 4 plains, 4 swamps, 4 mountains. We got 1 Crumbling Necropolis and 2 Savage Lands that are replacing the Rakdos Guild Gates. Now, I chose the Savage Lands to go for 2 of instead of 2 Crumbling Necropolis, but because Savage Lands sounds more awesome, right? I mean, savage, ha! But on a serious note, Mystic Monastery is the next one. This one's replacing the Boros Guild Gates. It's shiny. Look at it. Ah, nice. But in all seriousness, it replaced the Boros Guild Gates, and it's shiny, so that's why I went with it. Nomad Outpost, it replaced 1 Boros, 1 Orzhov, and 1 Rakdos Guild Gate for all 3 of them, and it's shiny too. And last but not least, these 3 replaced the Orzhov. I don't know if I'm saying Orzhov right, but fuck it, it's the same thing, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. It's shiny. Alright, and moving forward, this is the deck. I'm going to kind of go into this as quick as possible and give a breakdown as fast as possible. That way, hopefully, the audio doesn't get all distorted and shit again, because it is absolutely killing me how many times I've had to record this because of the audio issues. I think maybe my MacBook just isn't the best option for this, but cracking into it. I got 3 Wall of Omens. Costs 1 plains, 1 colorless. It's a 0/4 body. Defender means it can attack, but when it enters the battlefield, draw a card. There's not a whole lot of drawing options for Mardu, which is red, black, and white. So I used the options that I prefer best out of it, as you will see. This is one of them. It's the cantrip. I got 2 reprisals. 1 plains, 1 colorless, instant speed. Destroy target creature with the power of 4 or greater. It can't be regenerated. It pretty much speaks for itself. It's a cheap cost card. I run it instead of the edict because it's cheap, and I can do like a creature or something like that as well. Basically, the deck wants to deal with early threats and then lay my own in the mid game and win out in the mid to late game. That is the idea behind the deck. That's why it's filled up with massive amounts of removals and big ass flyers, beefcakes, as you'll see. Bane Angel. 2 plains, 3 colorless, 5/5 body, flying, first strike, lifelink, protection from demons and from dragons. It's pretty much an auto-included in any white deck. If you're running white and you're not running this card, you're not doing it right. Unless you're running like some super aggressive aggro type of white deck, obviously. That isn't ever meant to get to 5 mana. But if not, isn't that, then you're not doing it right. And moving forward, this is one of the cards that I built the deck around. 3 plains, 3 colorless, destroy all non-land permanents. That's everything. That's not just creatures. It's enchantments. It's artifacts. As long as they're not indestructible, that shit's gone. Bam. That's why it's in there. It fits this deck theme really well. 3 deadweights. 1 swamp cost. Enchantment. Enchanted creature gets -2/-2. I look at it like it's additional shocks that have the benefit of weighing down the bigger creatures as well too. So let's say they have a defender guy out there. Well, they can make a trade with one of my big boys. Well, now they can't. Yeah, so suck on that. Next, we got 3 Tributes to Hungers. Cost 1 swamp, 2 colorless. Instant speed. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. You gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Now, I would not usually recommend this card, but in this particular list, with this particular removal package, I would definitely say that this is probably the best option that I have right now. In testing, I played a lot with a couple of the other options, and this just turned out to be the end-all be-all, the better option. It kind of counters some of the life loss that I have in other things, and it's beautiful now, especially that a lot of the tokens and stuff aren't as prevalent as they were before. So yeah, that's why it's in there. And it can be nice because it can take out some of the big boys and give you a bunch of life. Yeah. Friction Rager, another one of the card draw things that lets me get deeper into my deck. I think this guy is not getting the appreciation that he kind of deserves a little bit. I mean, in this particular list of cards that we have access to. Costs 1 swamp, 2 colorless, it's 2/2 body. So it's 2/2 body for 3. That lets you get a card as well. Now, you do lose 1 life for getting that card when it comes into play, but overall, there's not a whole lot of options, and that's why I run them. I run them for the 3 cost and the body at the same time for the draw option. Now, I built this deck, like I said, around dealing with the early aggressors as well as possible until I can start dropping my win conditions, which are all the fatties there in the air, all the beefcakes in the air. Greatborn Muse. This is the draw engine of this deck. 2 swamps, 2 colorless, 3/3 body. It's a zombie. At the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card or draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of zombies you control. There's only 2 zombies in the deck and they're both Greatborn Muse. So with that in mind, you're generally using it to draw an extra card every turn. Now, if it's not dealt with, you're gonna fucking ruin pretty much anybody. It's really hard to come back from the card advantage gained by Greatborn Muse turn after turn after turn. So that is the beauty of the card. It does cost some life though, so that can hurt you sometimes, but hopefully we can negate that with Tribute to Hunger and the lifelink guys. Shadowborn Demon. 5/6 body. In the air, it's flying. 2 swamps, 3 colorless. When Shadowborn Demon enters the battlefield, destroy target non-demon creature. Now, that right there is why I run this deck in the deck. I ran it before Shieldred, and now with Shieldred, it's got a lot of synergy with the deck that it didn't have before. But a lot of times, when I play them to remove one of their creatures, and then next turn I'll sacrifice a Friction Rager, or I'll sacrifice a Wall of Omens to the demon, so that way I can swing in the air for 5 damage. I've rode this guy to victory before, simply by doing what I just said. But also, though, more importantly, it's removal. That's why I do it. And yeah, Shieldred, Whispering One. 2 swamps, 5 colorless. It's a 6/6 swamp walk, so it has some form of evasiveness. But in all be all, it's a game winner because of its ability. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. Now, these abilities are fucking awesome, especially the first one. I mean, it's not just coming into the battlefield into the end of turn. It's back for good until it's destroyed. That's phenomenal. It gives lots of extra value to the ETB guys. It gives a lot of value to the rest of the guys in the deck, because if they get removed the first time around, bam, they're gonna come back. I can't express how awesome it is, especially with cards like this. If I need to do it and nuke some of my big boys to get rid of their board presence, and then bam, I can drop Shieldred, and now I get one back every turn. Runescarred Demon, awesome by itself. It can win games by itself, just like the other guys I mentioned so far, because it is a 6/6 body. In the air, it's flying, it's evasive. 2 swamps, 5 colorless. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. I mean, you can get it to get whatever you need. So when you play this guy, you're going to get whatever you need. Whatever you need, whatever that may be, you can get it. A lot of times you can use it to get that card that you need to remove a blocker out of the way to win, or you can get a card that will pretty much seal the deal the next time around, or you can always get Shouldered with it, which is one of my usual grabs with it. But it's just awesome. Moving forward, Bristlebrand. This guy wins fucking games. I mean, look at his fucking hands. Look at that shit. He's got a fucking scythe. He's got a fucking meat cleaver shit for hands, man. Look at that shit. This guy screams badass. He's got demon wings. He's got fucking horns. But all seriousness, 4 swamps, 4 colorless, 7/7 body, flying, lifelink, and his ability wins fucking games. You pay 7 life, you draw 7 cards. It's really hard to lose when you get that much card advantage in the later game. I mean, by that time, generally, they've exhausted all of their removal. They've exhausted all of their cards. Their hand is really low, if they have it at all. And you've got 7 cards. Bam! It's really hard to lose with that, man. It's really hard, especially with all the removal that can get rid of the threats thanks to getting 7 more cards. It wins games. Every once in a while, there might be a concern with forest swamps or the forest swamp cost, but overall, it's in there. It's in there. I don't want to lose any of the guys that I have in here. I think that I hit the sweet spot with the amount of bombs, and by bombs I mean beefcakes. All right, Bane Fire. This is the newest edition. Now, it costs 1 mountain and X of anything. It's replaced one of the shocks. So I had 4 shocks, well, I replaced one from Bane Fire. Bane Fire deals X damage to target creature or player. If X is 5 or more, Bane Fire can't be countered by spells or abilities, and the damage can't be prevented. So, with that in mind, that's going to a creature, it's going to a player. It's an added form of removal, or you can use it to win games. Point blank. I mean, sorcery speed, it's not instant, but I mean, fuck. It wins games, or it's another form of removal that are for creatures that are out of reach of shock. Which is the next card. I have 3 shocks. Costs 1 mountain. It's an instant speed. Shock deals 2 damage to target creature or player. I don't think I really need to express the utility of this card, but it has lots of value in the early rounds where you can get rid of those creatures that you need to deal with in the early rounds. Anger of the Gods is another one of the cards that I built this deck around. It's only a 2 of, unfortunately, but it costs 2 mountains, 1 colorless, sorcery speed. Anger of the Gods deals 3 damage to each creature. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. So, without further ado, we're wiping tokens, we're wiping weenie aggro decks and all, and also anything that has 3 toughness. The beautiful added benefit about it is there's a little bit extra synergy because all of my creatures in this deck that I actually care about have more than 3 health. Banshee Angel, the Demon, more importantly Shieldred, Runescarred, Bristlebrand, and the other 2 guys to come. I mean, they're all surviving. So with that in mind, Anger of the Gods works great in here. I can use it to clear the board and swing in for lethal from my game winners because they can survive it. I mean, what else do I need to say? Moving forward, bam. Storm Breath Dragon. I mean, this guy breathes fucking storms. Look at him. I mean, look at the art. It's cool. But in all seriousness, I think that he is like the red version of Bane Angel in the fact that if you're running red, you should probably run him, in my opinion. I mean, he's fucking phenomenal. 5 costs for a 4/4 flying haste, protection from white. That is what's so awesome about it. I have won so many I've won so many games on the back of this guy simply because that protection from white is really hard to deal with. And also, he has monstrosity to top it all off. So instead of it just being the evasive 4/4 body that has protection from white for 5 mana, you can also, for 7 mana, monstrositize him. And bam, you get 3 +1/+1 counters on him. And you deal damage to the opponent equal to the number of cards in that player's hand. Now, that's all opponents, to each opponent. But I usually play 1-on-1. This deck was built for 1 versus 1. And so, you know, I mean, if they have 7 cards in their hand, you're dealing 14 damage this turn if they don't have anybody in the air to block this guy. So, with that in mind, bam, that hurts. If they have 6 cards, you're doing 13. If they have 5 cards, you're doing 12. I mean, you know, if they have 1, you're doing 8. If they have 2, you're doing 9. I mean, shit. It's pretty good. This guy wins games. Moving forward. Inferno Titan. He costs 6 mana, 2 mountains, 4 colorless. He's a 6/6 body. Now, he's not evasive like the other guys, but his ability can be looked at like a form of evasiveness. It means it's a lot harder for him to be chump blocked than a lot of the other guys. Now, look at it. Whenever Inferno Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, it deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures and or players. Check that out. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks. So it's got extra additional synergy with Shieldred. And also, whenever he comes into play, bam, you're dealing 3 damage wherever you think it should go. It could be to the face, it could be to the player, or to the creatures. And also when he attacks. And he's pumpable. So if they got a bigger creature on the board than him, you can potentially swing in and kill it. Or, if they block with it, I mean. Or you can shoot that to the face for lethal. Or you can use him to block if they're attacking you and pump him up if it's a creature that's bigger than the 6/6 and take it out. He's got a lot of utilities and he wins fucking games. So yeah, that's him. And this guy is like the butter to my bread. Darksteel Ingot. This is what allows me to play the cards that I play together so beautifully. It's a 3 colorless cost. Indestructible. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Now, look at the mana costs. We've got 2 mountains, 2 mountains, 2 mountains, 4 swamps, 2 swamps, 2 swamps, 2 swamps, 2 swamps. We got 3 plains, 2 plains. So we've got a lot of double, triple, and even quadruple costs. Darksteel Ingot solidifies everything together and makes everything a lot more likely to be able to be played. But also, it has the double advantage of being able to ramp. So there are so many games where it is absolutely detrimental to the other player when you can play Darksteel Ingot on turn 3 and play Stormbreath Dragon on turn 4. That is phenomenal. That does wonders. I mean, that really fucks people up. It really fucks people up. Like, I swear, it really does. Or you can play on turn 4 Bane Angel, I'm sorry. Or you can play on turn 4 the Shadowborn Demon. Or any of your other bombs, you could potentially have the ability of playing them a turn earlier. Thanks to Darksteel Ingot. So that is the beauty of Darksteel Ingot. That is End of Days. I hope you enjoyed. And I really fucking hope that the audio quality of this is good enough so that way I can put it on YouTube and finally have the deck tech done, because I did so many of them. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Please like the video. Please feel free to share your thoughts or opinions, recommendations, interests in the deck or what have you, whatever you want to. Comment below, enjoy, and I'll see you again real soon.